Hey everybody, Walty Wanders, welcome to the channel. If you're new, I want to thank you for coming. If you're returning, I want to thank you for your continued support. Before we get into today's bar banging topic, I'm going to politely ask you to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below. I would love to hear from you. Please watch to the end for my final thought. Hit the bell icon so you're notified when new videos are released. It is very important to stay close to the channel in these crazy moto times. All right, folks, welcome to the channel. Always an honor and a privilege to be with you. I hope you're all doing great. Buckle up and strap in. I got a hard-hitting pull, no punches, no sugarcoating it, no rainbows or sunshine. I'm just going to give it to you and give it to you straight. And friends, Dean Wilson, our good boy Dino. Love that guy. What was that dirty grandpa thing or old grandpa Earl viral video he did on YouTube where he dressed up and made himself up to be some old guy probably looking like me and goes out to Paris, one of the tracks here in SoCal. And he's a great actor. He's got a great social media presence. And at the moment, you can survive in the sport with a social media presence. We've seen what the Deegans have done with their YouTube channel. It's massive. They can quit racing. They don't have to do anything. They just have to do YouTube. It's paying that much money to them. Guarantee it. Trust me on that one. They were making a ton of money on YouTube. That's why that whole bike scandal thing was a big thing. They thought it could potentially hurt them. Insane in the stuff that we get to blow the lid off of these days here in motocross and supercross. As somebody as an ex-industry guy has worked on the team level, on the brand level, every level, boots on the ground, in the trenches, scratching and clawing his way through the industry, seeing the politics, so political, all financial gain. If you're a rider, pro rider, you're nothing to them. You're just a statistic. You're an algorithm. You are nothing more than a data point to see how much money they can make off you. Very rare anybody retires from the sport successfully. Doesn't have to eventually try to come back like we've seen Reed and Dungy. You think they came back because they wanted to? No, probably not. They came back because they had to. Need the money. Need the money. You based your cost of living on old racing income, and now you don't have that anymore, and you're going out there risking it all again. And this is a risky sport, not a this is a young man sport, not a middle-aged old guy sport in terms of the rate and being on the track. We've seen that. So Dean Wilson, in fact, falls into the old guy category. He's big, he's out of shape. When he was young, he was a very skinny guy, could get around on the 250 quite well, never quite came to fruition on the 450, had some big injuries, and that hurts. Let me just tell you, when you're laying in a hospital bed, being put under, going under the knife with massive surgery and then being fed pain medicines to manage the pain, that's a whole separate animal in itself. And the emotional roller coaster, you go from the extreme highs of the moto world to the extreme lows, because when you're at the highs, the way he was, Dino, your phone's ringing off the hook, companies offering you all this money, you start to get a little bit pumped up. You're like, I'm the man. And then you're laying in that hospital bed, looking at your phone, nobody calling, maybe mom, maybe dad to ask how you are. No industry people calling you anymore. That's what's happening to our boy Dino. Now, the World Supercross was a money grab, so I don't think we need to put too much weight on what happened there. He showed up, rode a bike he probably wasn't familiar with. But we saw others do the same and able to make it work. But Dino, even on factory equipment, was a top 10 guy, which is, nothing to sneeze at. He's a top 10 guy on factory equipment with tons of testing, even, being top trainers, Alden Baker training him. He was still only able to produce a top 10 guy finish. And, you're only going to get so far. There's a privateer, a satellite team that'll take you if they think they can get a top 10 finish out of you, because you got to be in the top 10. And your hope is that if you're in a team, you're like, this guy, maybe tonight's the night if we can get on the podium, rip a whole shot, do anything. That's what happens. If you're not a factory team out there, if you're a privateer team, if you're Twisted Tea, if you're MC or Moto Concepts, if you're Butler Brothers Racing, if you're Tedder, Team Tedder, if you're any of these satellite privateer island teams, like when we were at Triple X, even though we ended up winning races, they were few and far between and very hard to come by because you're competing with money. People had unlimited resources, top talent on your production bike with guys that you had to try to bribe basically to come ride your bike.
or that were found without a ride and needed a ride, and you were the best option they had. We were happy if we can we need to be in the top 10. That's we have to be. Because when they show the results at the end of the night on TV, they show the top 10, so you got to be on the top 10. But we were always hoping for at least like a podium. A hole shot would be cool. Even a hole shot. Anything you could do to get some exposure for your team. That's the number one thing. So Dino, my friends, his career is pretty much smoked at this point. He could probably still command some of these one-off races like the World Supercross and get some money to go race in Europe. Some of these off-season events where they just need riders on the gate. Maybe somebody has a social media presence and a guy that used to be a pretty big hotshot in the sport. But that's dangerous. It's flirting with disaster like we just saw Reed pretty much claim Reed. It's going to do the same thing to Dino. I know his plans is to go Supercross only, but he's no factory, and that's why the World Supercross, as cool as it was to see the gate drops, it was a double-edged sword because it could make your career or end your career, depending on where you're at in it. So for Dino, it probably hurt him more than it helped him because he already had a big question mark of what he was capable of doing. He was at best a top 10 guy on top equipment. So you couldn't expect more from him on privateer equipment. So he's limited. I think we'll see Dino at the end of the day. We're going to watch the silly season play out, and he wants to be a Supercross only guy because that's just the best. Even though I think he's better off just being an outdoor guy, I think he's got more chances in the outdoors than he does on the indoors. But it's too taxing for him, and so we're going to see Dean Wilson try to find a contract for the indoors this year. And if he can't find it, he won't be racing. And if he does, it's probably going to be with the privateer team. What do you guys think? Leave it in the comments below. In final thoughts, I come to you as an ex-industry guy, somebody wants to see not only win on the track, win off the track, understanding the politics and what's going on in the sport and what most people won't talk about. Everybody wants to sell you something, feed you some mainstream narrative and what's going on. I'm telling you what's going on. This is politics, it's money, it's incentive for money, it's financial gain. That's what it all comes down to. If you are nothing more than a commodity out there, if you're a racer, and it's a what have you done for me lately sport. And, with Dean Wilson, he's got a big social media presence. He deserves to be in the sport. It's now at what level can he realistically expect to be in it? He's clearly not a title threat. He's clearly not a podium threat. He's probably not even a top 10 threat anymore. But some privateer team will pick him up if he's willing to ride that bike. We'll have to wait to see. If you appreciate the content, I do want to humbly ask you to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below. I would love to hear from you. Social media link is in the description of this video if you'd like to follow me there. And if you appreciated this video, I know you're going to love the next video on your screen. And there's an easy subscribe icon for your convenience. As always, thank you for your time. Don't go over the bars today. I'll see you on the next video.